be able to vote for one council member from our district every 4 years. I don't think that has any intention of unifying us or is very, helps to be fair and balanced for us instead of divide us even further. So I really am disappointed that this whole process is taking place. Also, I would like to see, as a resident of Mission Flats, I would like to see us unified with Mission Hill, as we are the second oldest neighborhood in our city, and that would be great if we could stay together instead of be divided. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. One more.
I have a question.
Yes.
I still want to know if the district isn't represented, so why?
I have no answer for you. I'm sorry, and the attorney doesn't either. We've just never seen it.
Okay, maybe we can ask for a second. Whoever's calling for the lawsuit. We'll try to roll it.
I'm Tony. In your criteria to draw a district, there's about 4 criteria. Can you tell me what the priority is on those? What's the most important item when you're looking at a district?
The first 2 criteria, equal population and then compliance with federal law and the Voting Rights Act, are the top. Basically, we call them Tier 1 and Tier 2 criteria. So those 2 are most.
Well, I noticed that the red district and the gray district and the yellow are really way low in that, on the percent of Latino CDAP, and the blue and the green are about 50, close to 50, they're 44%. So if those are the most important criteria, wouldn't you want to move some of the people in the blue and the green over into these other districts because the percentage is so low?
So, when we're talking about equalizing populations, we're talking about total populations. So basically, it's everybody who was counted. The Voting Rights Act talks about keeping communities that are covered by the Voting Rights Act actually together to keep them from being split apart. So with that proposal to like move people around and split them up, that would actually violate the Voting Rights Act. That's. But thank you very much for the question. Okay, so if there's no more current testimony, let's start drawing some lines and see if we can, incorporate some of the comments that we've heard from all of you into this map and see if we can improve this map, okay? That sounds reasonable? Okay, let's start.
I'm sorry, I should have sent in my little yellow piece of paper.
Okay,
I
fine.
My question is, had the city council considered submitting this to a vote of the people of the city as a whole?
I can only tell you that the council determined that it would be in the city's best interest for them to transition to district elections by this method, which is to adopt an ordinance. The state law before January 2016 required any transition from at-large elections to district elections to be by a vote of the people. But there was a law that went into effect in January of this year, January 1st, that provides that, as I mentioned earlier, for cities with a population under 100,000, a city council, in an effort to meet the objectives of the California Voting Rights Act, can adopt an ordinance to transition to by district elections, and that's what the council in this case decided to do.
Okay, now we're line drawing. And we gotta start drawing lines. So we're gonna do that, and then if you all have any more questions that are, about why did we get here, how did we get here, Ms. Talley's gonna be available. We'll have a break at some point or after the meeting. Please just grab her and just ask her those questions. And we gotta just get some work done because otherwise we're not gonna have an improved map for Monday, okay? All right, so I'm gonna move it over to Jane.
Okay,
I think a good place to start would be looking at this old San Juan Road, the community that sort of runs along Old San Juan Road. Because we heard about that from the city council, because we've heard about that in testimony that we received after the city council meeting, I think we should just take a look at that really quickly. So here's the census block. As you can see, it is funny shaped. And I am going to move this little box in there. My apologies to everybody in the back. I can't, with a lot of things on the map, I can change the size of the labels and of the text, but with this one, I cannot. And you can see this column is for the yellow district, and this column is for the blue district. And so it shows the change in population. So the number of people that live in this highlighted area, and again, that's one census block. It's 56 people, so 56 people moving from blue into yellow, and that would make the deviation of the yellow district negative 2.8%, and the deviation of the blue district negative 4.0%. So that's within the percent deviation, so it seems like we should make this change because it's been such an important ask from a lot of the community. I'm gonna do it. Okay. Oh, you know what? And one thing I would like to change, because we've had a really quick meeting, we're doing that, is there's this little census block that I'm pretty sure it doesn't have any population in it. Let's double check. Yeah, 0 population. So I'm also going to make that change. Yeah, I think it's the island in Del Obispo. It's like an island.
Well, it's a census block island.
It's a census break, so it's, or it's like the whole street or something like that. But there's 0 population in there according to the census.
So just this little guy.
So just this red, this tiny
So we're gonna clean it up so it doesn't stick out.
All right. Okay, next we heard about Mission Flats and Mission Hill. And we heard about these communities wanting to be in the blue district. And this is the one census block just north of El Horno. You can see it goes all the way up to Junipero Serra. This census block, thank you, Karen, will be has been submitted to be changed in the next census. So hopefully it'll be 4 census blocks instead of 1 big census block. Local hero. But the population of this highlighted area is 1,144 people. So just moving this one census block into the blue district would make the blue percent deviation 12.5% and the green deviation negative 13.5%. So that's, and of course we have to include all of this area. So that seems like making that change would mean we'd have to redraw basically the entire map to make all of the percentages balance, all the populations balance.
Can you show the neighboring census block? Showing us just one at a time doesn't really help us very much. Like the one you just showed, where's the next census block to the left of it?
The next census block to the
You got
left.
a green and a blue. Where's the next census blocks? I mean, maybe you could wiggle back a little bit without showing us. We don't know.
Do you mean how much population is in all of this?
What you're saying, if you go back to your original, where you just colored in the green, you colored it to brown, and you called it a census block, which we're not supposed to break up. Okay, where's the next census block next to it?
In which direction?
To the left, the green or the blue.
So all of these are individual census blocks that I'm highlighting now.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I am wondering though if, I think another way that we could think about unifying Mission Hills and Mission Flat, or Mission Hill, Mission Flats together is if they were whole together and in the green district instead of the blue district.
Mission Hill backs up to that green.
Right, so here's, zoom in. This again is El Horno, this is La Calera, and this is, okay, camera? Okay, thank you, excuse me, and El Camino Real. The total population of this is 154. Green would be 5.3%, and blue would be negative 6.2%. And I wonder, I think we could make this change and then also see if there's another census block somewhere between blue and green that we can switch. We can also just go back, I'm gonna do this just to look into unifying these neighborhoods.
What's
And
the
then-
one to the right of that red?
And then
Is there a
see,
block to the right?
yeah, so I'm just gonna do this and then sort of explore, see how it feels. We can always go back to how it is right now. So now blue is negative 6.2%, and we need to get a little bit of population for it from green. This census block has 117 people. This is La Zanja, and it's between De La Vis and this is Santa Clara. So that's 117 people. The blue district would be at negative 4.5%, and the green district would be 3.6%. So by making this trade, then we would be unifying Mission Hill, Mission Flats, and they would be in the green district instead of all together in the blue district. That seem good?
Why don't we do it? We'll zoom out, you all take a look at it, and then we'll keep working on the map. We can always go back. On some of these things, you'll just have to start thinking about it in the following way. Not everybody's gonna get exactly what they want, okay? We're gonna do,
What is that area?
let me just finish, okay? So essentially, we can, in this particular case, it appears, unify two neighborhoods or two communities of interest, but those two communities of interest cannot be in the suggested district, they will be in another district. So everybody's gonna have to just weigh what's more important. So is it more important to be together, or is it more important to be in that particular district? So our districting criteria are talking about communities of interest and respecting communities of interest. So the goal that we have been pursuing is to just make sure that we can keep as many people as possible together within their communities, okay? That doesn't mean that you can't disagree with it, but, so that's essentially the approach. I just wanted to let you guys know, just to back up a little bit, look at the big picture, and then figure out, what are the options here.
Is that little area that you were just playing with called Casas?
I don't know.
Because I would think they would want to be with green.
They are in Casas is in green. We'll zoom in a
Yeah,
little
but
bit.
I thought you were going to take them out from.
So the only block that changed from green to blue is this block right here. It's De La Vista. This is Santa Clara, and it's just between La Zanja and Santa Clara. Here, I have the HOA layer. From the city, I'm gonna put on the HOA layer. Right, so villas number 3. Right, so, right, I think that was the 3 HOAs that we saw together that was split in the, that was like one of the 5 communities of interest that was split. Okay, the next from the city council, we heard about trying to keep the Rancho Ali Paz Estates with the blue district. I'm going to put that layer up. It's a little hard to see it on the map right now, so I'm going to try and change the color to make it easier to see. So this is, again, the Rancho Ali Paz Estates. I'm gonna highlight those areas. Okay, so the highlighted areas, it's 119 people. Both the yellow and the blue district would be in the population, would meet the population requirements. As you can see, it's not touching the blue district yet, so I'm gonna, okay. So that again is the one large census block that goes to the city boundary. Can you, okay, and I'm gonna unclick it one more time just so that everybody can see where that whole census block is. So that whole area that's highlighting and unhighlighting is just one census block. And because this community of interest, the Rancho Ali Paz Estates, as we can see, it doesn't connect to the blue district.
But it does. It does. It's just across the street.
So it's not connected by any census block, or it's not connected by any of the census geography. So to include it with the blue district, we would also have to include that really big census block. Which would split the yellow district in half. And again, it's just because that one census block is so large and touches the city boundary that it would just be splitting it in half.
On a more positive note, that's one that I made changes to also in the census submission, but I'm sorry, when they were drawing these census blocks, they weren't thinking district, they were clearly not thinking that. What they were thinking was, we'll just draw, census blocks where there's population, because you guys have a lot of open space in San Juan Capistrano. So what they did is they tried to put like open space in the one census block, they put like, houses into another census block, and that made a lot of sense for them when they were delineating it, but the census people have never drawn lines. They have never tried to draw district boundaries. So when we're looking at this, we're going, this makes absolutely no sense, people. And that was pretty much my message to them, is that this makes absolutely no sense. So we're gonna, we need some work on the census blocks. So hopefully we'll get this all fixed by next time. But in this particular case, there's really very little we can do, because you see that this is basically a hole in that red census block right here. And because the boundary would touch us right over here, That means that this would be like one of the city council boundaries, where you'd have to basically redraw the entire map around this particular census block, because the districts have to be contiguous. We can't have them in two different chunks. So I think this one is not going to work out. It's basically what Jamie's trying to tell you.
And yeah, and there's a possibility that in the next city council meeting, if the city council wants to further explore this, then there'll be an opportunity for that as well. And that would mean just having a map that looks really different than it does right now. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next topic that was sort of earmarked by the city council, which is to move both sides of Velardes into one district. So here's Velardes. And this is between Calle Rio Bis and Del Obispo. And I believe that it was to move both sides into the blue district.
It was just to unite the
Oh,
largest.
okay, to combine them into one district. So here, I'm just going to look on the west side of Velardes to see what this census blocks look like. This, again, is one very large census block. And again, that's just one census block. It's not a bunch of them that pop up on their own. So I'm going to look and see what it would look like to move blue into yellow. So it would be moving the line, east, if that makes sense. Let's see how much population this area has. And this is between
But Jamie, how many
Alipas,
people-
Velardes, and Del Obispo.
Before you move away from that large piece, did you identify the number of people in that?
Sure, let's take a look at the number of people in that one census block.
Just so we know.
So the number of people in that one census block is 588. Making that change would make moving this whole piece into the blue district would make the blue percent deviation 4% and the yellow negative 11.3%. And realistically would also mean moving this area into the blue district as well, so there was an island of yellow. Yes, and this one would either become green or blue. All right, so on the east side of Velardes, census blocks looking a little smaller so far. So this is, again, Alipas, Calle Rio Bis, Velardes, and Del Obispo. The population in this area is 527. The percent deviation of yellow would become 4.8.